Hello friends, I am Chevy. Welcome to my shed. How are you today? How's life in your world? How's things where you are? I hope everything is good and great and wonderful and fantastic. I'm okay, but my car is not. And the one thing that I really miss the most about being a mechanic, first off, yes, for those of you who don't know, I was a mechanic for a while. I worked at a Chrysler Dodge Jeep dealership for 4 or 5 years as a certified technician. I was master level certified in like 5 or 6 different categories, transmissions and brakes and electrical and all that stuff. And because of my love of puzzles, I didn't do well. Because I tried too hard to diagnose things. And if you didn't know, mechanics at a dealership like that are paid on a system called flat rate. It's basically by the work, by the job. And if you're not working, you're not getting paid. And sometimes, if you are working, you're still not getting paid. And that was the case for all warranty repairs. Whenever you bring your vehicle back to the mechanic for the dealership for warranty repairs, the technician's getting paid a fraction of his time or her time to do the job. And if there's a diagnostic procedure such as chasing down bad wiring or trying to figure out a module that's bad or diagnosing a noise, the mechanic doesn't get paid for that. It's just lost. And so a lot of times mechanics just, you take your car to the dealership and they'll just throw parts at it. And they'll be like, well, I'll just put a part on it and see what happens. When that doesn't fix it, they throw a part on it and see what happens. And that stuff is supposed to be, the manufacturers supposedly look at a mechanic's repair history and they can tell if the mechanic is just throwing parts at a car to try to fix it. And they're supposed to catch that. If they do, in the dealerships that I've worked in, I've never seen it come back. I've never seen the mechanic be kind of disciplined for doing that. Because the dealership wants to make money, the mechanic wants to make money, and everybody knows that warranty work is terrible. But the thing that I miss the absolute most about being a mechanic is the access to diagnostic stuff. Right now my car is broke. There's something wrong with the brake system. It is not the brakes. It is not fluid level in the master cylinder. It is not the master cylinder level switch. It is not, from what I can tell, an ABS issue. But I'm guessing at most of that because I don't have access to a scan tool. And the problem with brake systems is they're not part of the OBD2 standard. So if you don't know what that means, onboard diagnostics is that if you ever see plug the thing in and they got a tool and they can read codes. OBD2, the open, like what's required of a manufacturer to share with the OBD2 standards is just engine codes, essentially. There might be a couple of transmission codes, like something is broke, but that's all you'll get. Anything internal to the transmission, the brake system, the airbag system, the internal, like clock radio, all that stuff, all of those systems are manufacturer specific. So in order to look those up, you have to have the manufacturer's tool, or you have to pay a ton of money for a tool that has licensed access to those systems. And they're ridiculously expensive. You can go get an OBD2 scan tool for like, I don't know, $40 or something like that, and you can check your engine codes and it'll say a misfire, but you can't read all the onboard engine sensors like you can do with the manufacturer's tool. You can't read the brake sensors. So I'm just guessing. I've manually inspected the brakes. They seem fine. I've manually inspected the master cylinder. It's fine. There's no leakages. I've tested the level switch. I've tested the wiring. Those seems fine. I don't know what it is. It could be an ABS sensor. I don't know how Ford's ABS sensors work. In Chrysler, they were all Hall effect sensors. So theoretically, you would have to be moving for that sensor to trip a fault. Like the sensor doesn't work unless it's moving. The Hall effect sensor just detects magnetic field, so it doesn't do anything unless the vehicle is moving, and that's how the vehicle knows that, or that's how the computer knows that something's wrong. In my case, I've disconnected the battery, reconnected the battery, turned the key on, it's right back on. So I feel like it's either ABS control module or some sort of problem in the wiring, or there is Ford uses a different ABS sensor that I'm used to that can set a fault at idle or at sitting still. I have no access to a tool to figure this out. So what that means is my car is effectively dead. I don't want to drive it knowing that there's a problem. I personally think the brakes are fine. I mean, they work. I'm guessing it's an ABS issue, which means I don't have ABS brakes right now. I don't have traction control, which we're in the middle of the summer. It's not a big deal, but I have kids, and I don't want to risk them because my car is broke. So in order to fix this problem, I have to go to a manufacturer like a Ford store and get the scan tool and get, but of course they don't just let you borrow a scan. Can I borrow the scan tool real quick? No. You can pay us $100 for an hour of diagnostic time for our technician to plug it in and go, it's this code. And if it is a ABS module, my guess on that car is $800 installed. And that's not something that you can do as an individual. They usually have to be flashed, which means it goes in the car and then they have to program it. I miss the days of being able to do all of this stuff at work. We had a very expensive scan tool that could do all the manufacturers. We had, or we had the ability to kind of contract with another dealership, so I could get labor or I could get the diagnostics done cheaper at the Ford store, or I had friends, so I could just drive over there and be like, hey man, will you check this out real quick? Now I don't know anybody at any store. My friend owns some Ford stores, but they're 2.5 hours from here, so I can't exactly drive down there with a faulty car. I'm stuck. I don't know what to do, and I've got the kids this weekend, and M's not going to be here, so I got to figure something out. Yeah, kind of out of options. Don't know what to do. I miss being a mechanic sometimes. I've always missed working on cars. I actually really enjoy the work. I really enjoy the labor. I do not enjoy working in the summer heat. Shops are not air conditioned usually. There's maybe a fan, maybe a swamp cooler that doesn't do a whole lot. But I don't miss that. I don't miss the wear and tear on my body. I have both of my rotator cuffs are torn. That is self-diagnosed. I've never gone to see a doctor about it, but if I work overhead, from working overhead, for any amount of time, then my shoulders are kind of in a serious amounts of pain for days, sometimes weeks, and I can't lift them and stuff. This one actually hurts right now. So I don't miss the wear and tear on my body, but I do miss fixing cars. It was something that I was really passionate about, which is funny because that's what my dad did for a living. He taught auto mechanics, and all my life he was working on cars, and I hated it. I didn't want anything to do with it. Sometimes it just works out that way. So I'm going to go try to fix this somehow. I can't just throw parts at it, so we'll figure something out. Thank you for being here as always. Thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing, being amazing friends and wonderful people. I really appreciate you, and I will see you again tomorrow. Today's word you should know to sound smart is cloying. It is an adjective meaning sickeningly sweet, sappy, or sentimental. Minerva, save us from the cloying syrup of coercive compassion. Camille Paglia, an American author, feminist, and social critic. Cloying. C-L-O-Y-I-N-G.